Anian, valued community. We gather here not just to study research methods in social sciences, but to honor the narratives these methods unveil. Knowledge in our traditions is a gift shared and nurtured with respect and reciprocity. We explore qualitative, quantitative, and mixed methods, each a unique path in the forest of understanding. Our process is sacred, imbuing our work meaningfully as we interpret findings. Let's walk with wisdom, love, respect, bravery, honesty, humility, and truth. Engaging with each method, we create a basket of knowledge interwoven with diverse strands of understanding. This journey is transformative, turning research into acts of healing and unity. Together, let's embark, guided by ancestral wisdom and new trails in the social sciences. Miigwech, thank you. Buzhu, and welcome to this vital exploration. Introducing research methods is like convening a council of inquiry where every voice and story is heard and valued. Research, in its essence, is our dance with the unknown, a systematic and disciplined pursuit to peel back the layers of phenomena that intrigue us. We articulate our quest for knowledge through research methods, whether through the detail-oriented lens of qualitative methods, the numerically rich paths of quantitative research, or the integrative approach of mixed methods. Each approach allows us to engage deeply with the world, interpreting its complex rhythms and patterns. As we traverse the research landscape, we mirror life's cyclical nature. It begins with a question, a spark of curiosity that propels us forward. This is followed by a diligent quest for answers, gathering the subtle whispers of data the world offers us, and then interpreting the rich stories they tell. This process is deeply rooted in the ancient art of storytelling, where each finding narrates a part of a larger discovery, shaping the futures we are yet to see. These stories are the vessels of knowledge, carrying insights from the past and present into the future, influencing how we will shape our world. In the tapestry, each thread represents a different method and way of knowing. Together, they create a picture far more comprehensive than any single thread could convey. In this journey, we are all learners, seekers, and storytellers. With each step, we weave our own stories into the fabric of the collective narrative. Let us do so with the understanding that each discovery, each piece of knowledge, is a contribution to the ongoing dialogue between generations and cultures. It is in this dialogue that we find the true essence of research, not merely as a methodological process, but as a bridge connecting diverse worlds of understanding, a conduit for the shared human experience. Research methods are essential in academia for verifying the reliability and validity of research outcomes. They provide a structured path from hypothesis to conclusion, ensuring the trustworthiness of scholarly work. These methods equip stakeholders with the means to make well-informed decisions by interpreting complex social data into clear, actionable information. They also facilitate the aggregation of individual insights into collective knowledge, aiding in decision-making processes. A steadfast commitment to solid research methods is a cornerstone of academic and scientific advancement. By continuously refining these methods, we lay the groundwork for future research, upholding a tradition of excellence in the academic community. Eurocentric research approaches have long been the bedrock of scientific inquiry, often seen as the gold standard across academic disciplines. However, these methods are not without their historical context. They have been shaped by colonial ideologies that have, over centuries, influenced the development and dissemination of knowledge. Such influence is evident in the way knowledge has been traditionally structured, valuing certain perspectives over others, and often marginalizing non-Western ways of knowing. These power dynamics are crucial to understand as they can lead to a singular narrative within research, potentially overshadowing the rich diversity of global perspectives. The power imbalances inherent in Eurocentric methods have profound implications for how we approach and conduct research. These methods can perpetuate a cycle where only certain voices, those that align with Western epistemologies, are heard, while others are marginalized or excluded. This has significant consequences for the types of questions we ask, the methodologies we employ, and the interpretations of data we accept as valid. It is a dynamic that places disproportionate emphasis on Western perspectives and forms of knowledge, often at the expense of non-Western cultures and understandings. Recognizing these biases is the first step toward creating a more inclusive and equitable research landscape. Moreover, the cultural biases embedded within Eurocentric research methods can lead to the misrepresentation and misinterpretation of data, particularly when applied to cultures and experiences outside of Western norms. This underscores the importance of critiquing and challenging these approaches, dismantling the barriers they create, and advocating for a research ethos that values a plurality of perspectives. As educators and researchers, it is our task to strive for a research paradigm that embraces the diverse tapestry of human experience, ensuring that all voices are included in the pursuit of knowledge. By doing so, we not only enrich the academic discourse, but also honor the multiplicity of truths that exist within our diverse and wise world. As we continue to unravel the narrative of research methodologies, let's pivot towards the historical underpinnings of traditional Eurocentric methods. These methods are not merely academic constructs, but are deeply rooted in the historical perspectives and experiences of European societies. This lineage is important to grasp because it informs much of the conventional academic frameworks we engage with today. The European Enlightenment, for instance, heralded an age of reason and scientific discovery that has significantly shaped the foundations of modern research. This era of thought emphasized empirical evidence and rationality, principles that have profoundly influenced the way knowledge is acquired and validated within academic institutions. However, the dominance of traditional Eurocentric methods within academia has not been without its cultural biases. For centuries, these methods have shaped disciplines and research practices, often establishing norms that inadvertently reflect and perpetuate the values and assumptions of European culture. This influence is seen in the preference for quantitative data over qualitative insights, or in the emphasis on detached observation as opposed to participatory inquiry. Such biases can inadvertently limit the scope of research, influencing which questions are deemed worthy of investigation and which methodologies are considered rigorous. The result is a landscape of academic inquiry that may inadvertently marginalize non-European perspectives and knowledge systems, impacting the inclusivity and diversity within research. Recognizing these biases is not to diminish the contributions of Eurocentric methodologies, but to call for a more inclusive approach to research. It's about expanding our academic horizons to acknowledge and incorporate a wider array of cultural perspectives and experiences. By doing so, we enrich the tapestry of knowledge with a diversity of threads, each bringing its unique texture and color to the broader picture. As educators and researchers, our challenge is to weave these threads together in a way that respects the integrity of each, while creating a more representative and complete image of the world's intellectual heritage. This approach not only broadens our understanding, but also fosters an academic environment that is truly reflective of the diverse world it seeks to understand. As we trace the trajectory of research methodologies, it is evident that our practices are deeply steeped in history. During the colonial era, research methods were often developed and utilized within the framework of colonial ideologies and power dynamics. These methods were not neutral. They were laden with the interests and perspectives of the colonizers, which often led to the marginalization of indigenous and local knowledge systems. The methodologies of this period were designed to assert control and to map the world in a way that served colonial powers, consequently shaping the production and dissemination of knowledge to fit a specific narrative. The post-independence period marked a critical juncture in the historical evolution of research methods. There was a conscious shift towards more inclusive research approaches that sought to address and integrate local perspectives. This period saw the emergence of methodologies that aimed to understand the subtleties and complexities of local context. Scholars and researchers began to recognize the value of indigenous knowledge and the importance of addressing the biases inherent in colonial research practices. This shift represented a move towards a more nuanced understanding of the world, one that acknowledged the rich tapestry of human experience and the myriad ways in which knowledge can be constructed. In contemporary times, the focus has expanded further to decolonize research methodologies and to incorporate a plurality of voices in academic inquiry. Current methods strive to dismantle the vestiges of colonialism by valuing diverse perspectives and by ensuring that research practices are not only inclusive but also equitable. This involves a critical examination of existing paradigms and a commitment to creating spaces where all voices can contribute meaningfully to the collective body of knowledge. Contemporary researchers are increasingly cognizant of the need to not just include, but to actively involve and center marginalized perspectives, thereby enriching the academic discourse and contributing to a more holistic and accurate understanding of the world. In our historical understanding of research methodologies, a critical look at traditional Eurocentric approaches reveals a persistent ethnocentric bias. This bias assumes European perspectives, standards, and norms as default or superior in research. Such assumptions subtly influence topic selection, question framing, and data interpretation, often marginalizing non-European cultures. Power imbalances in research result from certain groups dominating knowledge production and validation, creating hierarchies and favoring Western methodologies, impacting research agendas and participation equity. Cultural insensitivity arises when research methods overlook cultural nuances and local contexts, leading to disconnected and misrepresented findings. This not only questions the validity of the research, but can also impact real-world policy and practice. Acknowledging and addressing these biases is vital for more inclusive and representative research methodologies. In the realm of research, the benefits of expanding beyond traditional Eurocentric methodologies are manifold and significant. Engaging with diverse research methods not only enriches the academic discourse, but also serves as a bridge to a legacy of knowledge that is comprehensive and inclusive. This continuous engagement allows the academic community to benefit from a multiplicity of viewpoints, enriching the dialogue and expanding the horizons of understanding across various disciplines. By valuing different methodologies, scholars can draw from a wider pool of insights, fostering a richer and more nuanced body of academic work. Global collaboration stands as another cornerstone benefit, enabling scholars from different parts of the world to bring their unique perspectives and expertise to the table. The integration of non-Eurocentric approaches breaks down geographical and cultural barriers, fostering international research partnerships that can tackle global challenges more effectively. Through such collaboration, research transcends its siloed origins and becomes a global endeavor with shared goals and mutual benefits. This collective effort enhances the quality of research outcomes and contributes to a more interconnected and cooperative international academic community. Lastly, the pursuit of social equity through diverse research methodologies ensures that the knowledge produced is not only inclusive but also equitable. By intentionally including underrepresented voices and considering the cultural contexts of all research subjects, scholars work towards a more just and fair representation of global narratives. Such inclusivity in knowledge production is essential in addressing the systemic biases that have historically skewed research outcomes. Diverse research practices lead to a more equitable distribution of knowledge and empower communities by validating their experiences and perspectives within the global academic narrative. Welcome to the critical juncture in our discussion, the flip side of the coin, the shortcomings of traditional research frameworks. As we've just learned, diversifying research methodologies can greatly enrich our academic pursuits. However, failing to do so can have significant consequences, which we'll explore on this slide. Firstly, let's talk about the marginalization of voices. Traditional research methods have a tendency to prioritize Western perspectives and voices. This doesn't just silence other narratives, but it also robs us of the rich tapestry of global insights that could otherwise inform and enhance our understanding. Think of it as attending a concert where only one instrument is playing. Sure, it can make music, but isn't it the harmony of the entire orchestra that truly captivates us? Moving on to limited scope. When research is narrowly focused, its applicability on a global scale becomes limited. Imagine trying to use a map of Toronto to navigate the streets of Tokyo. Both are cities, but the similarities end there. We must ensure that our research is like a well-designed map that guides us through the complexities of a globalized world. Lastly, we address knowledge gaps. When we overlook or undervalue local knowledge, particularly through Eurosceptic methods, we create significant gaps in our understanding. It's akin to trying to understand the story of a book by only reading random chapters. Every community has its own knowledge, and by ignoring it, we're missing out on chapters that could provide invaluable insights into the human experience. In conclusion, while traditional methods have their place, it's imperative that we move beyond a single narrative. Let's not be content with the echo of one voice, but instead strive to hear the chorus of global perspectives. This is how we'll pave the way for a more comprehensive and inclusive academic dialogue. Your task, as emerging scholars, is to critically examine these methodologies, question them, and broaden your horizons. Let's learn not just to think outside the box, but to realize that in the realm of knowledge, there should be no box at all. Building on our understanding of the limitations inherent in traditional research frameworks, let's further develop our critical lens. This slide delves into 3 transformative actions: unlearning Eurocentrism, embracing diversity, and promoting inclusivity. Firstly, unlearning Eurocentrism is the intentional process of recognizing and dismantling Eurocentric biases. This doesn't merely involve acknowledging that other perspectives exist. It requires a fundamental shift in how we perceive and value knowledge. Just as we discussed the marginalization of voices in the previous slide, here we're taking an active stance to not just notice the silence, but to seek out the quieted voices and listen intently to their stories. Secondly, embracing diversities goes hand in hand with expanding the scope of our research. It's about inviting and valuing a plethora of perspectives as integral pieces of the academic puzzle. By doing so, we're not just filling knowledge gaps, we're ensuring that our academic pursuit is as vibrant and multifaceted as the world around us. It's about creating a research ecosystem where every voice from every corner of the globe contributes to the symphony of knowledge. Lastly, promoting inclusivities is about advocating for research practices that respect and incorporate all knowledge systems. It's about creating a platform where every form of knowledge, be it indigenous wisdom or local lore, is given due respect. It's not just about broadening our horizons. It's about flattening the academic hierarchy to democratize knowledge production. This is how we build a truly comprehensive and representative global academic narrative. As we move forward, keep these critical perspectives in mind. Your challenge is to not only absorb information, but also to critically engage with it, to push against the boundaries of traditional methodologies, and to contribute to a more inclusive and diverse field of knowledge. In the exploration of methodologies that honor the full spectrum of human experience, indigenous methodologies stand as a beacon of holistic and contextual research. These approaches are not merely alternatives to the mainstream. They are affirmations of the richness that cultural diversity brings to our understanding of the world. Cultural diversity is the bedrock of indigenous methodologies. These are practices born out of lived experiences, steeped in traditions, and the wisdom of ancestors. They remind us that research is not sterile. It is imbued with the colors, textures, and rhythms of the cultures from which it emerges. By integrating these practices, we weave a tapestry that truly reflects the myriad ways of being and knowing that exist across our planet. Shifting the lens to a community-centric approach, we learn that research is not an island unto itself. It is part of a continent of communal life. Here, the research process is not merely about observation and analysis, but about engagement and reciprocity. It centers around indigenous worldviews and values, ensuring that the research not only observes but also serves the community from which it springs. This approach is a testament to the interconnectedness of knowledge and life, a principle that is often sidelined in conventional research paradigms. Lastly, indigenous methodologies often embody a profound respect for nature. They teach us to see the environment not as a backdrop or a resource to be exploited, but as a vital participant in the knowledge generation process. This respect for nature challenges the compartmentalization of knowledge and urges us to see the world as an interwoven web of relationships, where every element is interdependent. As we immerse ourselves in these rich methodologies, we commit to a journey of learning that is not just about acquiring knowledge, but about redefining our relationship with all forms of life. It is in this redefinition that we find new paths to understanding paths that are inclusive, respectful, and harmonious with the world around us. Continuing our exploration of indigenous methodologies, we come to understand the foundational role of traditional knowledge systems. Rooted in centuries of observation, practice, and oral traditions, these systems offer more than just data. They provide a framework for understanding the world that is inseparable from spirituality and the rhythms of nature. They teach us that knowledge is not static. It's a living, breathing entity that must be nurtured and respected. In our next step, we consider the community-centered approach inherent to indigenous research. This is where the community is not just the subject of study, but an active partner in the research process. This method recognizes the tapestry of relationships, including those with the land, the non-human world, and each other, as essential to understanding. It's a move away from the researcher as an isolated observer and towards a role as a participant in a larger circle of shared experience and mutual benefit. Lastly, we turn our attention to the themes of resilience and empowerment that indigenous research methods bring to the fore. These approaches don't just document, they actively contribute to the strength and self-determination of indigenous communities. Through this lens, research becomes a tool for celebrating and supporting the enduring spirit of these communities, highlighting the unique ways they navigate challenges and sustain their cultures. Each of these elements, traditional knowledge systems, a community-centered approach, and a focus on resilience and empowerment, is not just a separate strand of indigenous methodologies. Together, they form a powerful and cohesive approach that can transform the very essence of research, opening doors to new insights and pathways for understanding in the social sciences. Relationality is a core tenet of indigenous worldviews and, by extension, indigenous methodologies. This concept speaks to the deep-seated understanding that all elements of life are interconnected. Traditional knowledge systems embody this relationality by weaving together stories, practices, and observations that span generations, fostering a sense of continuity and responsibility to both ancestors and future generations. This interconnectedness extends beyond temporal bounds, asserting that knowledge is not merely cumulative, it is cyclical and reciprocal. The community-centered approach in indigenous research amplifies this relationality by positioning the community as the heart of the research process. It challenges the traditional researcher-subject dichotomy and replaces it with a partnership model. In this model, knowledge is co-created through shared experiences, emphasizing that every voice contributes to the collective wisdom. This approach not only respects, but also fortifies the social fabric, honoring the intricate web of relations that sustain the community's identity, well-being, and growth. Finally, the emphasis on resilience and empowerment within indigenous methodologies is a celebration of relational strength. These methodologies do not merely observe resilience, they actively participate in the empowerment process, facilitating the reclamation of agency and voice. It is through this empowering lens that research transcends academic inquiry and becomes a catalyst for change, affirming the role of indigenous communities as dynamic and resilient agents, shaping their own narratives within the larger human story. Together, these facets of relationality reflect a profound philosophy That knowledge, community, and empowerment are not isolated phenomena, but are inextricably linked, each feeding into and nurturing the other. This relational understanding redefines the purpose and practice of research, guiding us toward a more inclusive and equitable pursuit of knowledge. Building on the previous content about the centrality of relationality in indigenous worldviews, imagine walking into a forest where every plant, animal, and drop of water is part of a larger conversation. That's what indigenous perspectives often teach us about ecosystems. They aren't just collections of trees and animals, but whole communities where every member is connected. This view extends to humans too, seeing us not as outsiders but as integral parts of this living, breathing world. The forest, in this sense, is like a big family gathering where every species has a role and a story, contributing to the well-being of the whole. Now, when it comes to sustainable practices, think about a potluck dinner. Everyone brings a dish to share, and there's a kind of unspoken rule that you don't take more than your share so everyone gets enough to eat. Indigenous approaches to using resources are like this. They're about maintaining a balance, making sure we meet our needs today without taking away from what future generations will need. It's a thoughtful way to live that's all about giving as much as you take. And when we talk about interdisciplinary knowledge, it's like having a team with players from different sports working together. You've got environmental science, culture, tradition, all these different players joining forces. They each bring their strengths to the table, mixing old ways of knowing with new discoveries, creating a game plan that's robust and adaptable. This approach doesn't just respect the wisdom passed down through generations. It also embraces new insights, ensuring that communities can face modern challenges while staying true to their roots. So, this interconnectedness we're talking about, it's not just a concept. It's a lived experience that guides how indigenous communities interact with the world around them. It's about being part of a bigger picture and recognizing that every action we take echoes across time and space, affecting our planet and each other. Storytelling in indigenous communities is a conduit for preserving cultural identity, acting as a living chronicle that carries ancestral wisdom and communal values through generations. It is not merely a narrative form, but an embodiment of cultural practice, preserving history, law, and ethics within its folds. When integrated into research methodologies, storytelling elevates data beyond the quantitative, linking each discovery to the rich tapestry of indigenous life and experience. Storytelling sustains cultural continuity, bridging the past with the present, allowing the lived experiences of ancestors to inform and enrich contemporary life. This oral tradition is dynamic, adapting, and growing with each retelling, ensuring that cultural knowledge is not static, but a living, breathing entity that continues to shape identity and community values. The collective act of storytelling unites individuals within indigenous communities, fostering a shared sense of purpose and resilience. As each story unfolds, it reinforces group identity, strengthens communal bonds, and charts a path for future generations grounded in the accumulated wisdom and knowledge of their forebears. Storytelling, therefore, is both a repository of the past and a guide to the future, vital to the cultural vitality of indigenous peoples. In navigating the landscapes of research methodology, the contrast between Eurocentric and indigenous approaches is stark, reflecting deep-rooted epistemological divisions. The Eurocentric tradition, with its emphasis on objectivity and universal truths, tends to abstract and quantify the complexities of human experience. This often translates into a preference for statistical analysis and a pursuit of generalizable findings that can be mapped onto various contexts. Indigenous methodologies, conversely, foreground the subjective and the specific. They prioritize community voice, lived experience, and the unique nuances of each cultural situation, favoring qualitative insights that emerge from the rich soil of narrative and context. It is a difference that extends beyond mere technique into the realm of worldview, as Eurocentric methods aspire to distill and categorize from a distance, while indigenous methods seek to understand from a place of involvement and connectedness. The power dynamics embedded in these research traditions reflect their historical trajectories and the contexts from which they arise. Eurocentric research, with its roots in colonialist frameworks, often centralizes knowledge production in a way that can marginalize non-Western perspectives. This is not merely a matter of academic politics, but speaks to the broader societal structures that can either silence or amplify different voices. In contrast, indigenous methodologies resist such centralization, advocating for a more dispersed and democratic approach to knowledge that recognizes the legitimacy and importance of local, community-sourced wisdom. This approach inherently challenges the hierarchies of authority that have traditionally dictated the validity of knowledge, offering a more inclusive and just epistemological framework. The implications for knowledge construction under these divergent paradigms are profound. Eurocentric methods, with their emphasis on detachment, risk effacing the textured realities of individual and collective narratives. The pursuit of broad applicability can sometimes dilute the richness of context-specific understanding. Indigenous methodologies offer a counter-narrative, one that embeds knowledge within the fabric of community, culture, and place. This situated knowledge is not only relevant to the specific contexts from which it emerges, but also offers a more holistic and integrated understanding of the phenomena under study. Such an approach demands a reevaluation of the criteria by which we judge the validity and utility of knowledge, advocating for a research ethic that is reflexive, responsive, and respectful of the plurality of human experience. The juxtaposition of Eurocentric and indigenous research approaches presents a vivid contrast in epistemological orientation and methodological priorities. Eurocentric research, with its roots in Enlightenment thought, often seeks to delineate and distill the complexities of phenomena into quantifiable and controllable variables. This orientation fosters a research environment geared towards the production of empirical evidence and measurable outcomes, adhering to a belief in objective truth that is separate from the observer. Indigenous approaches, in contrast, are not confined by strictly empirical evidence. They encompass the myriad dimensions of human experience, including the spiritual, emotional, and communal. Recognizing the significance of place and tradition, indigenous methodologies assert that knowledge is inseparable from the context of its creation and use, thus challenging the detached nature Eurocentric approaches. Within the ethical domain, the disparities between these approaches become even more pronounced. Eurocentric research has often proceeded without full consideration of indigenous rights and values, occasionally resulting in the appropriation or misuse of traditional knowledge. This oversight points to a broader ethical imperative to align research practices with the values and needs of indigenous communities, respecting sovereignty and self-determination. Indigenous methodologies, with their emphasis on relational ethics, prioritize respect, responsibility, reciprocity, and relevance, which are fundamental to research that is not only about communities, but for and with them. This ethical stance is integral to a research process that seeks to empower rather than extract, creating knowledge that serves the community and honors its principles. The concept of knowledge co-creation in research is where these differing approaches might find common ground. While Eurocentric methods have traditionally prioritized objectivity and universality, indigenous methods stress the co-creation of knowledge through reciprocal relationships between the researcher and the researched. An integrative research paradigm would seek to balance these priorities, valuing both empirical rigor and the depth of insight gained through collaborative and culturally situated inquiry. Such a synthesis could foster a research landscape that is not only more comprehensive, but also deeply attuned to the nuances of diverse cultural contexts. This integrated approach could lead to enriched understandings and applications of knowledge that are responsive to a multiplicity of worldviews and experiences. The pursuit of balance between traditional Eurocentric and indigenous research perspectives is a journey towards an enriched and comprehensive understanding of our world. This endeavor isn't about merely juxtaposing different methods side by side. It's a profound exercise in weaving together diverse threads of thought to create a stronger fabric of knowledge. In practice, this could involve employing rigorous quantitative analysis to garner data, while simultaneously engaging with narrative techniques that lend a voice to the numbers, anchoring them in the lived experiences and cultural contexts of the community. Such an integrative approach ensures that research transcends the act of information extraction, evolving into a reciprocal process that enriches and empowers the communities at its heart. Interdisciplinary collaboration stands as a pillar of this balanced approach, fostering a synergy among varied academic disciplines. It is through such collaborative efforts that a multifaceted understanding of research subjects can be achieved, wherein scientists, artists, historians, and indigenous elders contribute their unique insights. Such integration allows for a richer exploration of research topics, where the empirical is not only informed by, but also tested against the holistic, community-centric wisdom of indigenous knowledge systems. This confluence of perspectives is pivotal in addressing complex global challenges that require both the depth of cultural knowledge and the breadth of scientific inquiry. Finally, respecting and valuing diverse knowledge systems is paramount in this balanced paradigm. It involves a commitment to understanding and embracing the plurality of worldviews that inform our interpretations of phenomena. This respect is not passive. It demands active engagement with and contribution to the communities that hold this knowledge. It is about creating research that is not only reflective of a multicultural society, but is also conducted in a way that is respectful, ethical, and beneficial to all parties involved. By honoring this diversity, research can become a tool not just for academic advancement, but also for social and cultural enrichment, fostering mutual understanding and respect among different knowledge holders. Embracing diversity in research methods is not just a matter of equity or political correctness, it's a matter of effectiveness and integrity. Diverse research methods allow us to capture the full spectrum of human experience, providing a richer, more nuanced understanding of the world. They challenge us to think beyond our own perspectives and biases, opening our minds to new ways of knowing and being. In a world that is increasingly interconnected and multicultural, diverse research methods are essential for addressing the complex, multifaceted challenges we face. They enable us to understand and appreciate the value of different cultures, perspectives, and experiences, fostering empathy and collaboration. As we embrace this diversity, we enrich our research, our teaching, and our lives, building a foundation for a more inclusive, just, and understanding world. Implementing indigenous methodologies in research presents unique challenges. One of the main challenges is the need for researchers to deeply understand and respect indigenous cultures and knowledge systems. This often requires a shift in mindset and approach, moving away from a purely academic perspective to one that is more holistic and community-oriented. Another challenge is navigating the ethical considerations inherent in indigenous research, such as ensuring informed consent, protecting intellectual property, and avoiding exploitation. There's also the practical challenge of integrating indigenous methodologies within the constraints of conventional academic structures and funding models. These challenges require patience, flexibility, and a willingness to learn and adapt. By addressing these challenges head-on, we can pave the way for more respectful, effective, and meaningful research that honors indigenous knowledge and contributes to the well-being of indigenous communities. The applications of indigenous methodologies in social sciences are vast and varied. These methodologies can provide deeper insights into community dynamics, cultural practices, and social issues. They can enhance our understanding of mental health, education, environmental stewardship, and governance from an indigenous perspective. By centering indigenous voices and experiences, these methodologies can help to address historical and ongoing injustices, contributing to reconciliation and healing. They also offer valuable lessons for non-indigenous researchers, such as the importance of relationship building, community engagement, and ethical research practices. As we incorporate indigenous methodologies into social science research, we open the door to more inclusive, holistic, and culturally sensitive approaches that can benefit all communities. Every journey has its challenges and opportunities, and the journey of integrating diverse research methodologies is no different. The challenges include overcoming institutional biases, bridging cultural divides, and finding common ground between different ways of knowing. However, these challenges also present opportunities. They push us to think creatively, to collaborate across disciplines and cultures, and to innovate new ways of conducting research. These opportunities can lead to groundbreaking discoveries, deeper understandings, and more effective solutions to the complex problems we face. As we navigate these challenges and seize these opportunities, we strengthen the fabric of our academic and research communities, making them more inclusive, resilient, and reflective of the world we live in. In the realm of social sciences, the application of diverse research methodologies is not just beneficial, it's essential. These methodologies enable us to explore the rich tapestry of human experience, from the individual to the societal level. They allow us to examine social issues from multiple angles, providing a more comprehensive understanding of their causes, impacts, and potential solutions. By integrating Eurocentric and indigenous methodologies, we can address gaps in our knowledge and challenge assumptions that have long gone unquestioned. This approach also prepares future social scientists to work in a world that is increasingly diverse and complex, equipping them with the tools and perspectives needed to make a positive impact. As we move forward, let us embrace the full spectrum of research methodologies available to us, using them to build a more just, equitable, and understanding society. Ultimately, incorporating a range of perspectives in research is crucial for generating a rich, multifaceted understanding of the world. A holistic approach that values both Eurocentric and indigenous methodologies not only broadens our knowledge base, but also respects the strengths and acknowledges the limitations inherent in each tradition. By transcending a binary outlook, we foster a more inclusive research culture that honors the interconnectedness of various knowledge systems. This inclusive approach to research methodology allows for the coexistence of diverse epistemologies, leading to a deeper, more culturally sensitive understanding of studied phenomena. It challenges researchers to adopt the roles of learners and collaborators, ensuring that the process of inquiry respects and reflects the plurality of the human experience. This is a step towards a more empathetic and equitable practice of knowledge creation. Embracing such a comprehensive perspective in research paves the way for outcomes that are not just academically robust, but socially relevant and healing. It transforms research into a conduit for social justice, empowerment, and unity, shaping a world where scholarly endeavors contribute meaningfully to the fabric of a diverse society.